So then, the Iowa Corn 350. An interesting name for an interesting race, an interesting track that made its Cup Series debut. And I certainly have got to say I enjoyed it. The 7/8 of a mile long track shows great potential within the Cup Series, just because of its unique shape and size. Even though it was a partial repave through the lower parts of the turns, it's produced some good action. And it was a good start to NBC's run for the NASCAR Cup Series. Now, obviously, there were issues with tyres going down. Maybe a full repave will make those less likely, but also at the same time, the data gathered for Goodyear and NASCAR by the teams, and also the data gathered by the teams for the teams, will help them to avoid issues like that in the future, hopefully. As for the race itself, Blaney was out front. He was right on the front row from the start of the race. And, of course, Larson had his issues, which led to Blaney climbing back up and holding on to the lead and the win in the end, as Larson ends up retiring. It's what, broken toe link. It was a bad day to be in Kyle, with Busch also retiring in the 8. But yeah, Blaney was able to avenge that result from a couple of weeks ago at Gateway. He was able to get the win. Which means that only Logano hasn't won for Penske this season. We've had the 12 now, and we had the 2 a couple of weeks ago. We're still waiting on the 22. And today, I mean, he popped up a couple of times, didn't he, Logano? Just outside the top 5 in the end, was 6th. But the top 10 has some interesting names in it. Some of them are quite predictable. Byron in 2nd, Elliott in 3rd, Bell in 4th. Stenhouse gets the top 5, Berry gets 7th, then Bowman down in 8th, Suarez and Keselowski round out the top 10. We had 8 cautions over the course of the race as well, and it was just under the 3-hour mark, which is nice for a NASCAR Cup Series race. It's also good this was, around 300 miles for a race, because it's 350 laps. I think that NASCAR races do need to be shorter, aiming for, let's say that 3-hour mark as an upper limit. Because whilst it's sometimes not like F1 in the way that you can expect lead changes and you don't necessarily have a predictable winner every week, at the same time, with it going on for longer, it sometimes feels a bit like it drags on, like F1 usually does when a driver runs off into the distance and can't be caught. But speaking about catching up, this does have big impact on the playoffs now, because not necessarily Blaney's win. He was already 7th in the regular season points. It just means that now we have winners in everywhere in the top 10, I think, except for 5th, Martin Truex Jr., and 10th, Ross Chastain. We still have 2 winners outside of the top 16 in the regular season points. There's a Suarez in 18th and Cindric in 19th. Which means that Bubba Wallace is still on the playoff bubble. And Logano is just about on the wrong side of it. 6 points now, the gap between those two. Bubba Wallace 21 points behind Chris Buescher, who's the next person in front. Both of them 17th and 18th over the course of that race. So, interesting to see. The person who suffers the most is Kyle Busch, who is now 31 points behind Wallace. Meaning that it's not guaranteed to be must-win, but it is almost must-win territory for the 2-time champ. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.